Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Friday's edition of the Mobile Lifestyle Chat, the VZWBuzz, sponsored by Verizon Wireless. And today we're very excited to also bring you the update of the new HTC One M9 smartphone. We're going to talk a little bit about that. That is this beautiful phone. And we are going to give away 2 of these. So HTC One M9s given away in this chat and recap. And thank you so much to HTC for providing today's prizes. It's super easy to talk about this phone, so you're going to hear why. And what we want to do today is, since we gave so much information, you know, Robin is so good. She has so many tips and so many resources to share. We want to hear from you. What you've learned thus far on the chat that's completely new, a new thing about your smartphone that you're going to start doing right away. And we're going to pick the winner from that. So tweet along and use the HTC One M9 hashtag. Remember to do that because that's who is our main sponsor today, along with Verizon Wireless. I am thrilled to welcome Sarah Hawkins down from Phoenix, Arizona. How are you, Sarah?
I'm great, Monica. Thanks for having me on the show today.
It's great to see you. I know that we've been complaining again of 40-degree weather here in the Northeast. I don't think you have those problems in Arizona.
No, we don't. Actually, I was talking to Marty getting ready, and it's 70 here today. It was 90-something yesterday. And, you know, there's a lot of people complaining because it's gray and it's cold. And 70 for some people would just be swimming weather.
Yeah, it's all relative. I know I was complaining that I went out and it was 40 degrees. How could this be possible at the end of April? So, yeah, so we talked today, as you know, a lot about smartphones. I want you to tell us a little bit about your blog and what do you do? What is your lifestyle like?
I blog at Saving for Someday. That's my lifestyle blog. And I do, obviously the tech stuff with Verizon, mainly with my lifestyle as a mom of an only child and a husband who travels quite a bit for work. So when I think about how tech fits into my world, it has to be really flexible. I do a lot of carpooling and driving around, and we do travel a bit, but I also share tech with my husband, and he is constantly traveling. And so how do we make it portable, easy? How do we share our information very quickly and easily? And then the same with my daughter. She's in elementary school, so she doesn't have some of the restrictions with technology, but she also doesn't have the access to technology. Like she has her own smartphone, but she would never think to take it to school.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you gotta be ready.
Yeah, but when she's out and she has her phone to teach her how to do it. So I write about that.
Okay. So just to for everyone to know, it's Saving for Someday.
Yes.
Savings for someday or saving for someday? Saving for someday.
The thing that everybody says, oh, I'm saving it for someday. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that because we all have that, right?
Right.
We are sometimes saving for someday.
Exactly.
So remember that blog. And Sarah Hawkins is at Sarah Hawkins. Sarah F. Hawkins.
F. Hawkins, yes.
Sarah F. Hawkins. So you can see Robin's tweeting that. And thank you, Tommy, for telling us we look great. We love you.
Thank you, Tommy. Oh, your check's in the mail. His check's in the mail.
This is actually a great chat for a lot of reasons. We love to have new people. There's a lot of new people on the chat today, but also some of our super longtime favorites. Ellen Beck is here. She was with us from the very first chat we ever held a couple of years ago. So I'm thrilled to see so many of you here. Okay, so one of the things that we want to talk about is how do we get to understand more about our phone and our smartphones, whether we have a model from 2 years ago or whether we have the absolute latest model. Some things haven't changed, and that is that we only use, on the average, about 30% of the features of our technology, and particularly smartphones. And so it's really hard sometimes to say, what should I be learning about more? Because it depends on, what you need and what you would use. And so one of the things that I wanted to get your opinion on, Sarah, is how do you find new ways to do things, or actually new uses of your smartphone? What's the one way or two that you identify, oh, I can do this with my smartphone or my tablet?
Well, I'm going to say through the VZWBuzz chat is, I think, one of the biggest ways I do, and not just Friday, it's through the week, through the stream, as new people get their smartphones, as new people try new things. They're constantly sharing it, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook, like, hey, can you do this? I figured out I can do this with my phone. So that's one way that I do, because so many people, like you said, so many people do participate in these, and they're always experiencing and sharing. The other way is, for my daughter and her friends. I don't know what it is that, we were the ones telling our parents how to fix the flashing 12 on the VCR. And now our kids are like, hey, Mom, do you know that you can do this with your phone? It was like,
yep.
No, I didn't even know I needed to do that. But hey, that's super cool.
So true. Your kids will be great teachers of some of the ways in which you can actually save time with your phone. I know that I was trying to move things from one place to the other, and Sammy was the first one to say, "This is how you do it, Mom." So definitely, that's a great way. I find even now on Verizon Wireless, even the third-party stores, even the reseller stores, but definitely at the stores, and most definitely at destination stores. If you happen to live in Houston, in Boston, in Chicago, or in Minneapolis at the Mall of America, then you have this great opportunity to go to these free workshops where you can learn about how to, understand better if you're on an Android phone, or if you're on an iPhone, or a Windows phone. There's a lot of workshops that you can, and even you don't even have to be a Verizon customer, by the way, to go to those free workshops. We're going to post a schedule so you can see them. But that is one of the ways in which you can learn what works best for you. You can also have this, one-on-one session with the product specialists that are at the stores. Certainly the smart stores and the destination stores have some great ones that I have encountered as well. And but one of the things that I think is common to everyone is the camera. And so would you like to talk a little bit about what are some of the things that you do with your smartphone now that you don't really need to go too many places for editing?
Apps. I mean, Robin mentioned, there are probably thousands of apps, and she said, download the light version. And I mentioned I will, keep track in different websites that I look at, that sometimes these big, expensive editing apps will go free for a day. And so I have several hundreds of dollars worth of these fancy apps that had gone free for a day. I'm like, I'm just going to download it because I don't ever know if I'm going to do it. And some of them are just like out there, and they'll, like edit it at a professional level that I can't do. But, the apps are great.
Yeah. And which ones do you use? Which apps do you use for editing?
I am a fan of Snapseed, and I've been a fan of Snapseed since it was a paid app. And Rona Designs is another one that I like, because I like how they allow you to put the text on it, and it's very easy. Some of the text over apps, I think, are a little bit cumbersome.
Yeah.
So I find that one to be. Those are really my
Snapseed. On the new HTC One M9 phone, it's there's a great app just for the HTC One, and it's called the Zoe app. And very early on, I was absolutely enamored with an app called Animoto, which was free, and now you have to pay for it, even like monthly. So it's expensive, and I really didn't want to spend the money because I don't use it that much. But I remember loving it. And this is an app that the Zoe app on the HTC One works just like Animoto, if you're familiar with it. but you don't have to pay for it. If you upgrade now to this HTC One M9, you can use the Zoe app. And what it does is if you have up to 14 photos, it'll create a video with music that you can easily share. So say you're at a recital or graduation coming up, and you take, you choose the best 10 photos to send this video clip with music. And it just makes the memory and the experience so much better. It's so much better than just sharing the pictures. And I find that native app on the HTC One M9 to be absolutely great. I know that you also, use a lot of video, right? You capture video. I saw a video of you. I think it was also a concert that at the school, and the sound was perfect. It was great. So you do your own video editing as well?
I don't do, actually, oddly enough, I don't do a lot of video editing. I kind of rely that I shoot actually most of my video with the Droid Turbo. I prefer that to an iPhone, and I can't get my husband has the S4 and the Note 4, and he's like using both of those to get video. So
I know. It can be confusing. We are going to give away now the first winner of the HTC One M9, and the next winner we will give away. We will announce towards the end of the recap. So today's winner, the first winner is at Homesick AK7. And so congratulations, you have won this beautiful device. I have to tell you though, Sarah, too, one of the things that's so important is that devices look good. And this does not scratch, okay? So imagine a phone, the screen doesn't scratch, the back doesn't scratch. It is silver, but it has a gold rim around it. It's one of the ways it comes. It's really just stunning. It's such a beautiful phone. And we were talking a little bit about, some of those video editing features because people use them. So now, as Robin was saying on the chat, your phone has so many of those built in. So you don't need to be hunting around for it. It has great filters. Explore the filters. I tend to use on many of the devices those filters that give you a smooth looking face, and I kind of leave that on on all my devices. So every time I take a picture or somebody takes a picture of me, at least I have that filter on to enhance. But you don't need to use any of that, of course.
Sometimes I just want to share the video so quickly, which, that feature of it being able to capture such a large file and share it, in the cloud quickly with people is great. I'll go back and edit, some things, but, you're talking about the no scratch thing, and that's really exciting because I had the Kyocera Brigadier, which had the no scratch. Yeah. And I mean, people say it's kind of gimmicky, but it's the coolest thing ever.
Well, it's great when you can just, throw it and nothing happens. I think you could even run that over and nothing would happen. That's not this phone. You got to be a little bit more careful with this phone.
But it's great not to have the scratching. I think for women, especially, that feature is great because we put it in our pocketbook. And I think even as more men, they carry bags and, put in a messenger bag or something, you don't have to worry so much like it's going to scratch it with my keys or something.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. So what are some of the other ways we can find things? I mean, when you think about, say, travel, and you mentioned that, and obviously your husband travels a lot too. What are some of the things or some of the apps or some of the ways you use your phone to help you while you travel? I have some, and you should share some too.
Skype is always, great, great way to communicate. I like it better than sometimes texting.
Yeah.
So you can keep the conversation going. And also texting tends not to work on airplane Wi-Fi, but Skype does. We have the TV apps so that we can watch things. We have the Slingbox or even HBO on demand. And his favorite is actually the Verizon sports apps, so that he can keep on top of those without having to, switch through a number of different apps, they give you all that information right in the one app.
Obviously the NFL mobile app, which is only on Verizon. So that's also, I'm sure, a nice thing. I know around here, we're big football fans, so we tend to use that a lot. You can watch live games on it even. So one of the things that in general, I know Robin had shared a little bit, and we wanted to recap here for you, is that if you travel, there are so many things you can do with your smartphone. You can get directions, obviously. So you'll probably already know how to use your GPS, but you can also get walking directions. So if you're visiting a town for the first time, instead of driving directions, you can get walking directions right on your GPS, which is a great way not to get lost. And believe me, I've used that a couple of times in Europe. So not only navigation, but also I have a good neighbor who took his whole family to Europe. And as he was, boarding the plane, he couldn't remember if he had turned out the lights, and they were going to be gone for 3 weeks. And he was really concerned. He had left the air conditioning on and the lights on. And so, now he could control so many of these things from his home, right from his smartphone. But he actually had to get off the plane. He let them go. He then took a later plane because he wanted to be sure. So many of the things that we didn't have access to, like managing the energy of our homes, like controlling the lights in the home, the temperature in your home. You can start your car from your smartphone. And so if these are some of the things that are interesting to you, stop at the Verizon store and ask them to show you about Hue lights, about the remote, how to enable your phone as a remote control. You can open your garage door. You can open the door. Do you use any technology, Sarah, for the home that maybe is enabled with your smartphone?
We do. In addition to our security system is hooked into our smartphone, and that was a big thing that we had looked at with our new security system. The Nest and controlling the temperature. We have, fortunately, we have a super smart house in terms of energy efficiency, and so our Honeywell has long been one of our pieces of technology. But the Nest is kind of the upgrade to that. The new Hue lights, even the Wemo light switches. I love my Wemo light switches.
Yeah, the Wemo light switches are so great, aren't they? They're so great.
And then
turn
even
off
just
the computer on your
kid.
Turn
off the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
It's a great feature. And then even the camera, we have one. We have a fountain by the front of our house, and I just like to know that we have neighborhood kids that'll come and they'll knock it over, which is kind of rude, but now I can catch them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And even when you're traveling, say you go to a foreign country, one of my favorite apps is the one that allows you to translate signs. So I remember, very early on in my career, I spent 2 weeks in Tokyo. And, I can speak a little Spanish, I can speak some things, but not Japanese. And if I had my smartphone back then, you can just point it to the sign. You have to have the right app. This is an augmented reality app. You just point it to the sign and it translates for you what the sign says. So I know I would have avoided getting lost in the subway in Tokyo many times because I wasn't sure which direction I was going. So really, almost if you can think it, your smartphone can most likely give you an app or some way in which to do it. And so I know there's great games, of course. Do you play any games, Sarah?
I play, is it 2049? And that's really the one I do. And let me see, I think it is 2048.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of addicted to that and like trying to get beyond that. But oddly enough, I actually don't play a lot of games on my smartphone. They take up a lot of space, and I have so many other things that I do with my phone.
Yeah, I know. It's true. It's so true.
But I do. There's a new one called Elevate, and they're games, but it's like a brain training type of thing. And so it's vocabulary, it's math, and so it's actually. I mean, I like those kind of things.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And even simple things like Glimpse. When you're leaving the office and you want to send a message that you're about to get home, Glimpse actually allows the recipient of your message to see where you are, in the process. So if you have traffic or if you're delayed, there's no need to call, and you can just see, oh, okay, based on Glimpse, she's in the corner of so and so and so, so she should be home soon. And sometimes that's really good. Say if you have a new teen driver, and you want to, just be able to not be harassing her or him all the time, but just say, when you leave the party, send me a glimpse so I know where you are. And it's kind of like you only use it if you have to, right? If you're wondering where they are, and you don't have to, obviously be calling and doing those things that teens so love when parents do.
It is, but I think that that's great because it's just an app, and it's not someone looking over your shoulder. It looks like you have to check in with mommy kind of thing. It just looks like another app that they're checking, and so I think it's helps them to feel a little bit more confident and not the peer pressure.
Right. And also remember, if you're starting out your child with a new smartphone, you can turn off location as well in some cases, particularly, as they like to post and share pictures. So that's, of course, a whole nother chat conversation, but there are many things that you can do, and also enable filters. Verizon has some great parental control filters, and many of the devices have them as well. I know the Windows phones have a great kids corner, so you can be sure that they're playing within a walled environment, and also using the appropriate apps, games, books, music. How much of today's music is completely inappropriate? Yes, let's not get into that.
Oh. When you have young children, you find out because they start singing the words.
Yeah. It's you go, ooh. Yeah, well, when Sammy was my daughter was like 5 years old, her nanny was driving her around for somewhere, and she came out of the car and she started singing, I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. I'm like, where did that come from? Yeah, so that's not inappropriate. It was actually kind of funny, but yeah, they got a little stronger, those lyrics, later on. Oh, we're going to tell a little bit more about this HTC One M9, because one of the things that we loved about it, and Jason Ramsey, right, Sarah?
I do.
He is the head of the School of Rock in Wichita, Kansas, and he was in the webinar about the HTC One M9 phone. And this device has HTC Boom Sound, which is Dolby Audio Surround. And so it is incredibly powerful. It's so clean. Basically, it's described as the multi-channel 5.1 surround sound experience. Very, very cool sound on this device. And I know Robin mentioned that because of the location of the speakers on the phone, if you know someone who has trouble hearing, this is actually, or maybe has lost hearing in one ear and not the other, that this phone actually allows them to really hear so much better. And I think that's a great benefit of the way this phone is designed, and the sound, the time they've put into refining their sound technology. And I don't know, I think you were playing with a new gadget, a new sound gadget, right?
I was listening to the Ultimate Ears. I got my new Ultimate Ears Boom speaker, and my husband was just brought it in because he was showing me some of the new features that he's figured out. And we were just talking about how that would be so cool my daughter just did a big presentation at school, and it would have been great to have that instead of having to use like something at school. And it's just, it's compact. Robin's giving a mini one away on her site. And I was like, this is already so compact. I mean, anything smaller is just even, better. But that Ultimate Ears Boom is phenomenal.
Sounds great, right? Did you know you can bring it to the beach? It survives, light. You can't submerge it, of course, but if it gets wet and, sandy, it's okay. So it's a great device for that reason.
It's it's going to be the hit of backyard parties this summer.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true. Let me tell you one more thing about this HTC One M9. We're going to announce one more winner, the last winner of 5 HTC One 9s that generously were given to us, our sponsor by HTC and Verizon. So I started using it literally on Tuesday this week, and it is so smart. I haven't really had a chance to organize the apps a lot. You know how you need to spend a little time, putting your apps and your icons where you want them. That's what I love so much about Android, is that you can really make it your own, as opposed to really the iPhone, which has a little bit more limited in the way you can choose how it looks and feels. But anyway, it learns what you use the most, and it organizes those apps for you. And so if I'm checking Facebook or the Facebook Messenger or perhaps Twitter, all of a sudden those icons rose to the front, to the home screen. And I find that truly smart. Like, it saved me time. I didn't have to do it. And I love this device. No other device has ever done that for me. I don't know if any of you have used it before, but honestly, the home screen now has the things that I use the most, and I didn't have to do anything. So I think that's great, don't you think?
I think that's fabulous. I think especially if when you're traveling, because you'll use different apps when you travel. And so if you're looking constantly using walking directions or something like that, you don't have to keep searching for it because you don't normally use it at home. If you're doing a translator, you need a translator app, and you don't have to search for it because we all have pages and pages of apps.
It's so true, and games and everything. This also has glove mode. So if it's cold and you have your gloves on, you can enable glove mode and it'll answer to the commands of your fingers, even if they're behind the glove. And so I found that also to be so smart and so useful for those of us, not you, Sarah, that would wear gloves a lot in the winter.
Well,
you probably don't even.
I do own gloves, but that's just the coolest thing that I experienced with the Kyocera, because it also has that feature. And I'd gotten the Kyocera shortly before I went to go visit my cousin. He came in town to play ice hockey, and it is very cold in an ice hockey rink.
It's true.
Everyone's all huddled up with their stuff, and nobody can do anything with their phone. You can't fumble with it and just try to do anything. And they're able to take pictures and send, text to his mom. It was so cool.
It's so great to be able to have that.
Yeah, and it's great, not even just for where you live, but hockey season for people who go to hockey games, or if you want to go
very cool.
to the spectacular on ice show with your kids in the summer or something, or
well, in which case you really should be enjoying the show, but I know what you're saying. The last thing that the HTC One has that I wanted to highlight has a lot of things. Also, it recognizes if you're home, if you're at work, and so all of a sudden your phone recognizes based on location what apps you need based on where you are, whether you're on the go, so from one place to another, whether you're home or whether you're actually at work. And I also think that's just incredibly genius. The last thing I wanted to say was that the HTC has a protection, and it's exactly what it sounds, protection, because life happens, and if your screen breaks or it has water damage within the first year of you purchasing this phone, they will replace it. I mean, think about that. So within the first year that you own the HTC One M9, you get a cracked screen or water damage, they will give you 1 free phone replacement within the first year. If you don't, and you're good with it, you'll get $100 towards the purchase of your new HTC One device at the end of that. And so at the end of your contract, or when you're eligible. And so to me, that's it right there. They got my business. I actually love that protection of the HTC One M9. So we're going to recap. If you get a chance, please review the timeline. If you have any questions, I know that many of you may do. We have a Facebook page where you can leave us all your questions, and we answer all of them there. So if we didn't get to your question now, please go to the facebook.com/theonlinemom and just post them there. And Jean generously helps us out. Geek Babe, hey Jean. I know Robin pops in to help us with some answers. Sarah, I know you've been there helping us with some answers as well. And so the tech chat is there. Please feel free to post your questions there. We are happy to answer them. And we're going to give away the last HTC One M9. And what else would you like to just recap for us, Sarah, about how to learn about your smartphone?
I think the biggest takeaway from this is just, to find resources, post your questions if you want to know something, post it to the Online Mom page, check out the VZWBuzz hashtag, and play around with your phone. Honestly, you can't break them by trying them. Download free apps and see how they work. Ask your friends. Don't be afraid to say you don't know how something doesn't work, because there are people out there who are so happy to help you.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm sorry we ran a little bit long. There was just so much to say when they give you a topic like this. And thank you so much, Robin and Jean and Paul and you, Sarah, Marty and Misty, for helping us out today. I know Robin had the job of giving me a little coaching. And our second winner is Pasqualine27. Congratulations at Pasqualine27. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm saying it the Italian way. It sounds like an Italian name. And so congratulations. We will be shipping these lovely HTC One M9s to everyone who won today. And thank you, Marty, again, if you were able to share some of the B-roll as we exit. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you so much, Sarah, for making the time to join us today. Have a great weekend.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. We'll see you next week.